All right. So I don't think I have everyone back yet anyway. Just give everyone a minute to get back. Yeah, we're just waiting on Anna by the looks of things. We probably don't need her to start anyway, so I might get Will, your group. That's just you and Ben right today because no John.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you guys know how to share your screen?
No.
Right, so down the bottom of your computer, there should be a share screen button.
Is that under settings or more? Or?
Normally for me, it's just like where mute, stop video is, security, participants, chat, and then share screen.
No, so I've got mute, stop video, participants, chat, reactions, settings, and more.
Okay, maybe go into more.
It just says stop incoming video.
All right, that's weird. Will, do you have a share screen?
Is it a yellow icon?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So we're
It's brought up a list.
just a question, Kurt. I guess probably there might be others that might be asking the same thing. Will you be giving us like feedback on these just because we're doing a dry run, or?
Yeah, I can give you feedback at the end for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
I've seen most of your work already and it all looks really good. So probably I won't really have many negatives to say. Nothing to really.
Oh no, that's fine. Yep. No,
You've all done really good work. So
Yep.
yeah, Will, what's the problem? Is it coming up with something else?
Yeah, it's brought up with a list of I think people to share with, like groups.
Oh, does it have down the bottom right a blue button that says share?
It's asking me to pick. It's got a list of. It's got one wellbeing. It's got yourself, Magpie's Next Generation Pre-Employment Program.
Cool.
Pre-employment program teachers. Wellbeing support. Renee Taggart.
Was that a button that said share screen?
No, it's just share.
Does it come up?
Oh, mate, yeah, sorry, it's share screen. For me, it looks green. I thought maybe yours one was yellow because it's only colored one here.
On Zoom, Will, not on the classroom.
Yeah, you tried that on Zoom, right, Ben?
Yes.
So there
In
should
the screen that we're all looking at now, yeah.
Yeah, for me, down the bottom, it just has like apps, reactions, breakout room, share, chat, participant, security. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm using it through the browser. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I couldn't get the app working for some reason.
Yeah, maybe that does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no share option.
There's no share screen option for you?
No.
Are you on your computer and on the app?
Zoom?
Yeah.
No, just through a browser.
Oh, okay, maybe that's why it's not. I've got another option. I can share my screen and just go through yours and take turns at reading that out to the group. If
that's absolutely fine. Yeah, if because you've got access to it anyway, yeah. So that's fine.
So I'll just come in. You guys are group 2?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So I'll let you kick off. Just someone yell out to me next page or something whenever you want to change.
Yep. All right. So afternoon, guys. So our project with purpose was to organise the halftime entertainment for the 2022 AFL Grand Final. Certainly what we wanted to do was make it the best spectacle ever for the grand return of the game, the Grand Final back to the MCG. We did want to make it better than Meatloaf as well. So, we also wanted to leave a lasting impression on the capacity crowd, but also the global viewing audience of millions. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, our aim was to make it the best spectacle ever for the grand return of the game back to the MCG. Also to, that's sort of doubling up. We also wanted to feature international Australian acts, but also to showcase talent from different cultures, backgrounds, also promoting diversity and inclusion. We thought that was really important. Next slide, please. Our milestones for this particular project, first of all, was to source out a big name Australian and international act, because after a 2-year absence, fans will be expecting to be amazed by the entertainment provided for the grand return of the grand final to the iconic MCG. Number 2 was set up some logistics. So that's ensuring that everyone is prepared and to avoid any issues that may arise and apply contingencies if required. 3 was pyrotechnics and safety, to make sure it's spectacular but also safe, to ensure the fireworks are going off at the right time, as well as any other displays, for example, lighting. Staging setup, to ensure that the acts have everything they require, such as audio equipment, and the sound team is working smoothly, and to allow everything set up for the acts to perform the rehearsal the day before, but also making sure that the acts are confident there won't be any audio issues on the day. Number 5, last but not least, is the ground handover and on the stage removal. So that's the removal of stage and effects, making sure that's coordinated smoothly and within a set timeline to ensure the ground is handed over on time back to the curator and ground manager, but also making sure that any turf repair that needs to be done is done within that time as well. Next slide, please, Kurt.
Yeah, that.
Yep. All right. So the roles and responsibilities. We've got the promoter, and their responsibilities are sourcing the acts and making sure scheduling availability is available, arranging accommodation, transfers, performance fees as well, but also really importantly, liaising with the CEO and promoting the event through various social media channels, newspapers as well. Next slide, please. We've also got the curator and the ground manager. So their roles are safety protocols and checks, undergoing those, preparing the ground and doing any maintenance that might be required, liaising with the staging crews to ensure a smooth transition, installation and pack-up, and also arranging contingency plans for challenges such as bad weather. Next slide, please. We've also got the sound engineers. Their responsibilities are organising delivery and installation of all sound equipment and lighting equipment, stage effects as well, to a deadline. Also ensuring that everything is in sync and coordinated, while also identifying and resolving potential issues. Next slide, please. And lastly, we've got the AFL CEO, and their responsibility to approve proposals of the event and any changes that they might want. After all, they'll have the final say in any of those. Requesting press releases and advertising, also liaising with the operations manager to ensure all aspects are running smoothly, and of course, most importantly, to schedule. Next slide, please.
Okay, the accountability chart. Heading up things is the AFL CEO. Reporting directly to him will be the Chief Operating Officer. Reporting to the promoter will be artist management, the social media team, and talent agencies involved. Reporting to the curator and ground staff, also safety officers, security, and the cleanup crew. Reporting to the stage crew will be labour contractors, sound engineers, and pyrotechnic experts. Resources are required: the people, booking agents, managers, promoters, ground staff, curators, safety inspectors. equipment such as phones, internet, tablets, laptops, tools, moving equipment, trucks, audio equipment and desks, materials such as calendars, notepads, stationery, desks, whiteboards, stands, props, schedules and software. And finally, facilities including boardrooms, offices, hotel rooms, planes and jets, storage facilities and warehousing.
It was me. So our budget for this particular project, as you can see there, is quite varied. There's a lot of things to consider. So the first thing was the hiring of the acts, obviously with an international act and an Australian act, that came to $3.5 million. The hiring of the agents, promoters and their fees came to $1 million. Accommodation for all of those parties came to $50,000. Flights and transport was $450,000. The stage hire setup, pull down props and electrical equipment came in at $1,500,000. Pardon me. The pyrotechnics and safety certificates came at $1,005,000. Also, the hire of the backup dancers and the choreography came in at $500,000. Yep. Total fixed costs came to $8,005,000. Next slide, please. We did not have a total variable cost for this particular project, and our total expenses came to the figure I just mentioned, so $8,005,000.
Okay, expected revenue from the event includes t-shirt sales at a cost per unit of $50 with an estimated unit sold of 10,000, giving us a total of $500,000. Next slide, please. Hats and caps at a cost per unit of $40 with an estimated unit sold of 10,000, giving us a total of $400,000. Posters, artist posters, should I say, at a cost of $15 per unit with an estimated 20,000 to be sold, giving us a total of $300,000. Study holders at a cost of $10 per unit with an estimated 5,000 to be sold, giving us a total of $50,000. Miscellaneous such as key rings, etc., at a cost of $10 per unit with an estimated 5,000 to be sold, giving us a total of $50,000 as well. Finally, the premium VIP packages with the estimated units to be sold limited to only 50 at a cost per unit of $2,000, giving us a total of $100,000. So total revenue forecast is 1.4 million, giving us a total loss of just over $6.6 million.
So the challenges that were involved with this particular project was whether there may be inclement weather or high winds on game day. And the contingency relating to that was to pull down the stage or identify an alternate undercover stage position and if need be, alternative entertainment. If there's any potential last minute changes to the schedule, we would be immediately updating plans and sending those to organisers. Any possible hazards were also taken into account as well, such as an evacuation or a fire, meaning that the entertainment would be moved outside the ground with some big screens and general music played through the speakers and the PAs. In the event that an artist is unwell and does not show up, we would have backup artists on standby. Also, unforeseen damage to the turf or drainage requiring urgent repair. We would make sure that there is AstroTurf in stock on standby or heavy-duty plastic matting similar to what they use for concerts, outdoor concerts, but also ensuring that those tools needed to repair the ground are close by. Any potential injury or accident to a performer, we would have backup artists, staff and choreographers on standby. And a really important one, so if the communication systems happen to go down on the day, using radio communications such as walkie-talkies, backup generators and Wi-Fi in extreme circumstances using another TV network's communications. Next slide, please.
The days prior to the grand finals, on the 27th of September, first safety inspection, preliminary installation of pyrotechnics will be carried out. 3 p.m. of that same day, the first rehearsal of dances and choreography. At 4 p.m, final setup installation of props. The following evening, speakers and PA system on the ground will be set up and an audio test will be carried out. On the 28th, stage setup begins. Performers drive to the ground to rehearse and inspect setup. Later that afternoon, a full dress rehearsal with artist testing, safety inspection, artist final testing of all audio equipment, lighting, pyrotechnics, and a full stage setup to be installed. Morning of the grand final checks, weather updates, go over schedule and timings, go over contingency plans and apply if required. And after the game, removal of equipment, or should I say at the end of the halftime break, removal of equipment and stages, ground maintenance, and hand over back to the curator.
So in terms of a checklist for to put on such an event, there are a few things that we certainly needed to make sure that we had front and center. So things like final safety inspections, confirming the final schedule, because we obviously wanted to make sure that was all running on time and smoothly. Any last minute changes or contingency plans to be organised if required. Really important one, weather pattern checks, checking the Bureau of Meteorology's radar. Final check of audio and lighting and electronics, obviously making sure the artists are present and prepared, ensuring communications between other team members is functioning properly, ensuring that all teams are aware of their roles and functions, audio setups as well, continued communications with teams throughout the days and grand final day as well, and before and during performances, clearing the ground of stages and props, making sure the ground is cleaned for the second half, ensuring that everything is stored correctly post-show, and that includes underground storage as well, and that any final repairs on the ground are to be done by the curator and their staff post-game.
Right. So, yep, that's all for you guys. Thanks so much.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, a bit nervous, but it's going to be the same tomorrow. So,
No, that was
No,
really
you did good.
And it's really neat and just simple. It doesn't like go too much into everything. It just kind of tells everyone.
Yeah,
exactly
we
what they
didn't
know.
want to sort of
which is
deep dive
good.
too much into one particular thing, but we wanted to sort of really sort of expand it in terms of, if it's our project, basically what it looked like to us.
Yeah,
what
less
we
is
do.
more. So
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
yeah.
And yeah, just like I said, really clear. So like even these parts you didn't add. I don't know if you remember that other activity we did, but it was their position descriptions and all that. So
Yep,
I think
yep.
having them there might have made it a bit much. So yeah, just and also just really neat everywhere. So it's really good.
Yeah, no, look, that's come up really well. I had a look at it when I logged on this morning and was quite surprised as to how clean it looked.
Yeah. Oh, you guys did all the work. They just put it all together and made it look pretty. So
Yeah. So do we know? I'm assuming there's going to be an IT person actually running through the slides tomorrow. We won't have to do it ourselves.
I'm not sure.
I'll ask Darren if he's popping in later. So
Yeah, I'm sure they could organize it for you, even if there isn't an IT person. I'll stop sharing now.
I'm assuming someone else like the Kurt, not Kurt, Darren would have access to the full thing rather than having to log in on the computer.
Yeah,
Okay,
they will.
fantastic.
So who wants to go next?
Girls, you want to go?
Ginny, get your hand up. Do you guys know how to share your screen?
Yep, but Anna doesn't work.
No, I know nothing about those things.
Hold on.
Screen.
Is mine sharing?
Yes,
Well-
yeah, got it.
Okay, hold on.
Yes, I
Okay.
can see it. Yes.
Sorry. Hold on. I jumped into this way too quick.
Well, it's working. So
Is this
Yeah,
okay?
we can see it.
Yeah, working fine. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so my name is Sion and I'm here on behalf of the Built Construction to take you through our project, which is I'm a site manager and our job is we have 10 new labourers and they're coming onto our construction site and they all need to complete their white card. So, and be inducted. So within the first 2 days of work, which will be commencing in 2 weeks. So our aim is to have our labourers fully up to date with their white card induction done within the first 2 days. If we can get it done in the 1 day, that's even better, but we have the 2 days as a leeway. Okay, so milestones, working within time frame, as it's definitely going to help us to achieve our focus of completing our task within those 2 days. Inducting our labourers of the work site. So it's just making sure they're familiar with the workspace and where to go and what to do. So having the additional support just to help encourage our workers to complete white card and feel supported on site. Obviously be aware of like where our first aid and et cetera, creating a work plan. So as it's important to help us stay on track and focused. Preparing and organising white card process. So as this will help in the steps needed to take in order for the labourers to complete the final task before stepping onto site. So some of the roles and responsibilities we have within our workplace is general manager, so responsible for site induction, plan, organise, direct, control and review the day-to-day operations and major functions. Human resources as well, so to help to update policies, recruit candidates, training and supporting managers. Sorry. And also financial analyst and accountant, so payroll, accounts and financial resources. Now I'm just going to pass you over to Anna to take it from here.
Thank you. My name is Anna and I will take over from Sian. I would like to focus on our organizational structure of our company. In our build project construction, we have a site supervisor, the person responsible for many important tasks. This is in our company, Sian. She will be responsible for training, creating the work plan, and also supervising the construction team. We also have a subcontractor. This is Jinshi. She will be responsible for suppliers and manufacturers. She will deal with them directly. And the last position, engineer, happens to be me. And the responsibility of myself will be to work closely with architects and electricians. Now, we have set up this team structure in such a way that we have clearly defined the lines of accountability, and every member of our build construction group has a specific role and is responsible for smooth running of the company. And next thing I would like to present to you is the milestones and how it is important for the running of our company, what resources are needed, how do we plan, how we determine what resources are required. So just briefly, I would like to say that we will need a lot of equipment, materials. We also need facilities to run our project, and every person is responsible for a different part of this particular task. We have broken down big milestones into smaller tasks. So each individual member of the company will look after the small specific steps, and that will vary greatly depending on their portfolio. Next one, please. Okay, so this is just an overview of how we go about working together, what activities will each member be responsible for. And also we have included in this task time, how long will it take to achieve the task, and what would be the cost. The cost is the estimate, and we have tried to include as close as possible to the real life scenario. Thank you. I will pass it over now to Jean Shi. She will talk about other important aspects of our company. Thank you.
Hi, I'm next going to talk about our budget. Estimated expenses, we can see fixed expenses are see the below. The total cost is $1,605. Then annually variable expenses, which are trainer and PPC wear, the cost is $470. So total expenses is $2,075. And next. Next, potential challenges. Challenges are solutions we may face. When trainer arrives late, the solution could be reshuffle the day to fit necessary training. Then lack of engagement from laborers could be incorporate practical learning activity. And if half the laborers show up, then we can split the training up to into 2 days. And next. And next schedule, arrive work site at 6 p.m. and prepare things to need before laborers come. Then 8 a.m. to check in, greet laborers and start induction. From 9 a.m. commence white card training, and we will be finished the course around 1:45 p.m. After we will get any question and start induction for construction site, then done. Next. The last thing is checklist are stationery or documentation form, porta toilets, backup PPE wear, COVID-19 screening, vaccination certificate, attendance form. That's it for today's presentation. Thank you. Cool. Yeah.
Great.
Well done.
Just really clean. Not too much information, straight to the point. So a really good presentation. Yeah, you'll think if you're presenting tomorrow, you really enjoy just getting through it quite quick if you're in front of a bunch of employees. So you don't really want to be reading 100 slides. So that's probably the best thing, guys.
Yes, that's our aim.
Yeah.
Be quick, clear and concise, and get off the stage.
Yeah, exactly.
You stole our idea, girls.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said you stole
cutting it
our
short.
idea.
All right.
Don't worry, we will be rehearsing at home some more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Stefan and Hung to go next, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please do.
Sure. I'm sorry. Do we have to share screen or?
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, I'm just happy.
Attention, the building's fire and evacuation system is about to be tested. Please disregard all alarm tones. I repeat, this is a test only.
What? Sorry, guys. Great timing.
What was that?
I thought it was part of the presentation. That
Stefan, safe.
Yeah. So is it possible for we do what the first group did?
Yeah, no worries at all.
Yep.
Just give me 2 seconds. Let me get your presentation up. Might want to just give me 2 seconds because I'm just finishing off Darcy's and that as well.
Yeah,
So
it's fine.
I'm just copying and pasting the last little bit over for them. Darcy, can you?
I'm editing some stuff as well. So
Yeah, great. Can you and your see what I've just put in? I'm pretty much done with the resources. I don't know. Can you see that?
want it now, resources. Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, too easy. So just got 2 more of them to do. And apart from that, will you guys be ready to go in about 5?
Should be.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There's a slide that's missing. I need to fix that.
Oh, no worries.
Don't worry about it.
Which one was that?
I'm copying it now. So
Okay, cool. Was it? It wasn't from my part, was it?
It could have been. Don't worry about it. It was just one of the job descriptions.
Oh, okay.
That's
So,
fine.
yeah, it sounds like it was. All right. Okay, I got 2 more slides to copy, guys. Bear with me.
Yeah.
And Stefan and Hung, yours is all finished, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Great stuff. One more. So I'm keeping everyone in suspense. Ooh. Got a minute out.
Who has the dripping tap?
Yeah.
I thought someone was sending a text message.
No, I
I
just
heard
hear
that.
thonk, thonk, thonk. I hear the texting as well.
Darcy, yours is ready now.
Okay.
Okay, now all I have to do is get Stefan and Hung, you guys are group 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, too easy.
Is it sunny where you are, Kurt?
Yeah, I've just gone and sat outside because it's actually the first good day we've had in about 2 weeks. I
To
couldn't-
see you squeaky.
Yeah, I can barely see anything now. Wondering if it was a mistake.
You're good. Don't worry about it.
We ready?
Yeah.
Fun and Hung.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Have I lost you? You there?
Okay. So I reckon I'm gonna start here.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Stefan. I'm gonna talk about the projects to create a delivery plan for Officeworks stores. So we have the situation that there is a warehouse in Epping and we have 10 stores. We have to deliver a truckload full of supplies once a week.
Oh.
And the aim, that's okay. Our aim is to organize a distribution and delivery plan, and that including the 10 stores which need to deliver at least once a week. And of course, we try to minimize the costs and resources to make sure everything runs smoothly. And the milestones is mainly to create this distribution and delivery plan. To do this, we have to get all the GPS locations of the stores, then feed that data into a route calculation tool and try to optimize it for the fastest route first. Then, of course, we also might get a faster route if it's including toll roads. But that is then in the later stage, we try to figure out which one is the most efficient, the time we save or the fees we have to pay. If we've done all that, we will create the actual plan, and that is to get all the times we need for each day to deliver, and finally evaluate the plan and check if we fulfilled all our aims and goals. So the team to do this, we need a general manager who pretty much provides us with the template for the delivery plan, and also has the last words on the plan and will give his okay. Then the main task, of course, will be a data analyst. He would have to get the GPS coordinates of all the stores. He would then also have to evaluate the best route calculation tool. So we make sure that we have the best and most efficient, also cost-efficient tool to calculate our routes. He also needs to get the address information in a suitable way for that calculation tool. It could be just the street address or GPS coordinates, whatever. Then he would be able to do the actual calculation of the routes to get the times, how long a delivery would take. And also if there's any toll roads included in that route. And as I mentioned already, that would be, we have to see if it's more efficient to pay the toll fee or to go a little bit longer way. And the process of finding the best plan for the week is to get pretty much the longest delivery time and put that on the same day, because we have like 10 different stores and only 5 days. So we need, on average, we would need to have 2 deliveries every day. So we simply take the longest time and match that one with the shortest one. So on average, we would have pretty much the same delivery times every day. That makes it all feasible and less stressful for the drivers. And also, if it would make sense to have toll roads included, then of course we would match them into one single day, if possible, so we can just pay for one day and not pay for multiple days. And yeah, finally, of course, check if all the times would fit into one day, of course. Another role we need is the financial analyst accountant. He would be the one who decides how much we have to pay for the toll fee, or how much the time would cost us pretty much to use alternative routes. And yeah, also, of course, we need some stock persons and delivery driver, which would pretty much do the loading and the driving. Okay. And that leads us to this structure of the team. So as I said, the general manager is above everyone and he will have the final word. And yeah, all the others pretty much report to him. And okay, I think that's I'm gonna hand over to Hang here.
Yep. Thank you, Stefan. My name's Ken, and I'm in Hong, and I'll be responsible for resource, budget, potential challenges, schedules, and checklists. And as Stefan showing that we have 5 milestones, which are creating, distribution, and delivering plan, tracking GPS location of all stores, calculating the fast route, avoiding toll roads, and evaluate the plans. As you can see, we like to minimize our costs by assigning the minimal amount of resource for each of our milestone. Our primary focus will be deploying resources that have one-off cost character rather than the monthly subscription base, which will bring the running of this project to the minimum. Each resource can be reused, as you can see, that we only have to play the computer laptop once, as well as the software, which means that the overhead costs will be reduced by what we do. Speaking of which, we should go to our budget. Kirk, could you please move to the next slide? Thank you. Our budget would be we have total fixed cost of $9,400, which include all the equipment and software. Equipment would be our laptops, our printers, and the software would be the data entry software, which would be part of what we need to complete this project. And for our schedules, for our potential challenges, there's 3 challenges we'll face when we do this project. One would be staffing. The employees sometimes couldn't come to work, which could reduce the productivity of distribution or delivery. Number 2 would be the server breakdown. So when the server breaks down, we can't retrieve invoices or transaction, which could stop or slow down the process. Number 3 would be traffic problems, which could delay or stop distribution. We come up with contingency plan to deal with all these 3 challenges. For example, for staffing, we can revise the staffing plan and to reorganize staff for this occasion, which to ensure the production does not slow down. For server breakdown, we can invest in backup hardware to ensure when the main server breakdown, there's an alternative. And for traffic problem, we could reroute or give alternative route to the delivery driver to ensure the delivery is on time. Now we would have a look at our daily schedule. So for daily schedule, we will start at 6:45, where team have a meeting to debrief what lies ahead on the day. We will also, and on 6:50, we would prepare for delivery. At 7 a.m., we'll be revising the delivery and distribution plan to just make sure everybody's familiar with what's going on. At 7:15, that's where we start the operation. So at the end or toward the end of the day, we would at 4:50, we will assess the delivery plan and again to find out if there's any problem with it. And at 5, we will make and prepare for tomorrow's delivery and distribution schedules. So we'll go on checklist. So this is what our checklist looks like for the day. The team we'll check whether the team has been debriefed about the day's plan. We then look at whether the distribution and delivery plans are correct. We will then ensure the driver have all their routes sorted and they have correct cargoes and all the vehicle and are functioning properly. All vehicles have sufficient fuel, and we'll check the traffic condition. We'll assess the performance and record any useful data at the end of the day. And we will finish the day by making any preparation for tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. And we'll conclude our presentation of today.
Right. Yeah, that was really good again. I like what you did here too, where you kind of shortened it up and put all the milestones into that one thing, because most of the time you pretty much can. So that makes it a bit easier to read. Also, yeah, it looks really good. Just the colors that we use as well. I know you guys didn't
really
have
neat.
much to do that. Yeah, it just looks really neat. And I had one more thing I wanted to say. Where was it? Oh, I like what you did with the budget here. That wasn't it, but that's really simple. Oh yeah, I just wanted to point out your one's pretty hard to do as well, because most of you people wouldn't know anything about like delivery routes and stuff like that. So to learn, like, it's kind of like learning a new skill, like figuring out where were your job roles. Let me go up. So just here, kind of the data analyst and the financial analyst and accountant and all that. It was just it was pretty creative. So good stuff there.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to the last group now. Darcy, how are we looking?
Good enough, I guess. We could always tweak stuff overnight.
Yeah. And you're keen to present now?
Sure.
Sweetie. You know
Let
how to
me-
share?
I think I got it working before.
If not, I've got it up. I can do it.
There we go.
Is that working?
Yeah, we got that.
Move these controls out the way. Hold on. There we go. All right. Go to full screen. Slideshow. There we go. Oh, wait, start home. There we go. Okay, so our project purpose is we are organizing for a number of new staff members to obtain their forklift license at Fantastic Furniture. We have 4 weeks to hire, induct, choose, induct, and train our applicants for the final forklift license assessment over the final weekend. So essentially, our aim is to organize and run a forklift license course for new employees and ensure that all these new employees that we've selected after the interview process are correctly inducted into the workplace, have all the correct documents in terms of identification, bank details and stuff, so that we can pay them correctly and license them correctly when it comes to it. We need to make sure that they don't have any medical conditions that could impact their ability to perform in the job role. For example, they could have profound hearing loss, might not be able to hear the beeps of the forklifts themselves, or serious medications that could affect alertness, such as drug or alcohol issues, or they could have heart issues, that kind of thing. We also need to determine the English language proficiency of any of the participants and how it may impact their ability to learn the required material or to actually complete the written or oral portions of the examination. We also need to ensure that while we're training these new applicants, that we select suitable instructors and who are able to give concise and clear and proper instruction in the lead up to the assessment. And we also need to make sure that there is enough time put aside during the working day for them to be able to train them, as well as carry out their regular work commitments. We also need to ensure that we've contacted and researched and contacted an appropriate RTO to carry out the examinations on the final weekend. And we need to ensure that once we get to that point, all the applicants that we have selected have the correct level of documentation in terms of things like your 100-point identity check to be able to actually apply for and receive their license should they ultimately succeed. We also need to ensure that prior to the examination and during their training, that all the forklifts are mechanically sound and there's no issues that are going to potentially take out a machine during the examination process, or that it interferes with their ability to get time on the machine. Okay, so here are a few of our milestones. So first one is finding and screening applicants, and to ensure that new hires are fit for purpose and any issues they raise can be addressed or handled appropriately. Number two is ensuring the applicants are correctly inducted into the workplace, such as getting site access, parking access, and correct documentation for being paid and the like. Step three of our milestones is ensure trainers and the assessors and the coursework that the applicants will need are all sourced and booked for them, and make sure that they all those resources and forms are freely available to the applicants ahead of time, should they need any assistance in filling them out, or going over them as part of their training. Milestone step 4 is carrying out the one-on-one training, the supervised training, that with our chosen job site trainers, ensure that they're aware of the safe operation of the machine, how to carry out those pre-work forklift checks, and how to ensure that common workplace tasks are carried out safely and efficiently. We also need to ensure that all the knowledge that they need to have for the test, the exam itself, is ingrained in them. And the final step is to carry out the actual license assessment with the RTO, and which is essentially the entire premise of the program. Now I'll pass over to Otto. He's going to go over a few highlights of the milestone 1, and then we won't go over everything here, but these are just the key points. So Otto, on to you. Otto, you there?
Otto, we got you.
Oh. Otto, you're on mute. Looks like we're having some technical issues. I'll just skip over a few of these quite briefly. So essentially, the first milestone, getting together the applicants, preparing the interview process questions, making sure that those rooms and stuff are available, and that the people available to sit in on the interviews are all available. Milestone 2, I'll pass on to Andrew.
Yep. So we'll be ensuring the applicants are correctly inducted into the workplace, enrolling them into the internal systems, things like that, giving them site access, safety inductions, introduction to the workplace and the co-workers, and enroll them into the payroll and their super, assigning the trainers to them, then do ongoing assessment to see whether they're learning everything properly.
And we'll keep going with Andrew.
So we'll also ensure the trainers and the assessors and coursework and exam documentation license forms are sourced and booked. So we'll research the suitable RTOs, contact them, choose and book the most suitable RTO, organize payments for services, what method of payment and authorization for the chosen RTO or the assessor, obtain training package documentation that may need to be available, things like, the coursework and stuff like that. Source enough applications from WorkSafe Victoria and ensure that applicants are informed of documentation requirements for obtaining a license ahead of time.
Otto, are you back yet? Or Otto, there we go. You're back on video. We don't have sound yet. You may be on mute. Take your time. I can see you speaking, but you're still personally muted yourself.
You just tap on your screen, down the bottom of your screen, you should see a mute button, or for you it would be unmute. Press that.
Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so some in terms of this part of the milestones, we're doing things like introducing them to the practical operations of forklift, all the checks that we need to do beforehand. We're doing things like ensuring that they know how to safely carry out work, ensuring that they know all the controls of the forklift, the ones that will be most especially critical to things, general forklift operations within the warehouse. They may not need to know things like how to offload the forks, exchange them over for different types of equipment, that kind of thing. We also need to make sure that they're aware of all the inspection points on the machine itself, so that it's safe for daily use, or things that need to be passed on to maintenance and addressed over the next few weeks. We also need to make sure that all those little issues that come out with the trainees are raised and are brought to the appropriate attention of either the HR, warehouse manager, or the GM by the trainers. If if they identify someone, the vision is not 100% perfect, or as we mentioned before, they can't quite hear, or they have fatigue or alertness issues, all those kind of things. Even things like they may not necessarily be able to follow the written material because they could have dyslexia or something like that. So, and hopefully we find solutions to those problems, or we find another way for them to engage in work in the warehouse. For our final milestone is carrying out the actual assessment. So it's when the RTO assessor comes out to our job site and actually approves or passes or fails the actual license test. So that includes things like doing a little bit of pre-exam prep and study, making sure that all those materials, documentation were available to the applicants as before, making sure that, just double checking that they can meet those 100-point identity checks, as we mentioned before, making sure that things like the actual rooms that we want to use are going to be available, not going to be locked over the weekend, that we have access to them, that kind of thing. We're going to make sure that we confirm with the RTO and assessor that they are in fact coming along on the weekend, and we're not going to be all standing around outside wondering where people are, making sure that they have site access in the event that they aren't able to park quite near, directly in front of us, and that kind of thing, and making sure that there's going to be someone outside to meet them. In the previous week or so, we're going to make sure that the forklifts are mechanically sound. They're all the ones that we expect to be using during the test are going to be available, not out of action. Making sure that they're all fully charged and fueled prior to the assessment itself. I'm going to make sure that as much of the potential issues with racking that sometimes arise in the warehouse, or potential clutter on the floor itself that could interfere with carrying out the practical examination portion, are cleared as much as possible. So just to reduce levels of stress and impact that we could potentially have on our trainees during their test. So we'd start off with a pre-exam safety presentation type thing. Then we might move on to the practical assessment in terms of the written or oral assessment, to make sure that the person understands all the certain things about the forklift with safety and in terms of controls and stuff before they actually get on the forklift itself. Then we'd actually carry out the practical assessment with the assessor and the individual applicants over the next 2 days. And then finally, we'd make sure that the applicants are graded. We'd inform the applicants about their results with the aid of the assessor that the RTO has sent. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some feedback on their strengths and weaknesses and any potential points of failure should anyone not succeed in obtaining their license. Hopefully not. At the end, we'll generate all the documentation in support of the application for high-risk work for those that have successfully passed, and we'll make sure that all those forms are filled out and either sent off on the day or shortly thereafter. Hopefully the day after, on a Monday, we'll congratulate all those who successfully passed and then work with those who did not to hopefully get reassessed. So I don't think we fully went over some of our roles and responsibilities. I think this has been a bit mixed up. So Andrew, I might pass to you on this.
Yep. All right. So we've got the general manager who will be delegating the tasks to, anyone who's below him, the sub managers and stuff like that. You've got the human resource manager who will be doing the interviews, site induction, payroll, those sort of things, accounting and payroll, make sure that all the new employees are entered into the payroll. The warehouse or floor manager will be doing the job site introduction, job procedures, the outlines of all the different things that they need to do for the new staff. The maintenance will be making sure that the forklifts are operational and stay maintained during the whole thing. The job site trainers will be the ones responsible for teaching the people how to drive a forklift and everything like that. The assessor will be conducting the written and practical tests, making sure that all the applicants have learned what they need to learn, and the applicants will be participating in the course to learn how to drive a forklift.
Right. So we've got a brief overview of all the individual points that we have for the positions. We'll just go over, how their basic objectives. So for the general manager, we have, coordinating the rest of staff, making sure that they're all correctly resourced, have all the things that they need to hit their milestones and objectives. And they're also the ultimate point of conflict resolution should any unforeseen issues come up, or there potentially be any conflicting ideas on how to perform particular tasks. There should only be one general manager, though potentially there could be general managers for other stores, but that's probably unlikely. We also have the warehouse manager. They're the person who is inside of the actual warehouse, either out the back of the store or the auxiliary warehouse that we have offsite. And they're the person who's making sure that all the warehouse duties and day-to-day work orders for the store itself are fulfilled, and to make sure that the training of the applicants is suitably supervised. That can typically be one or two individuals, depending on how many shifts we've got going on over the week. So I'll get maybe Andrew to go over this.
Okay, so we've got the HR manager. They kind of, they're in charge of HR. They'll be putting together the advertisements and things like that. They'll be inducting staff and telling them, where they go, stuff like that. They're in charge of payroll, so telling payroll how to, what they do in order to pay, things like that.
Otto, have you managed to make it back, or? No, don't think so. All right.
It's gone by the looks of it.
That's all right. So essentially, one of the most important people for success, even though their overall responsibility levels in the grand scheme of the company is not as large, but to the applicants, that's probably their first primary point of contact for all their training and reporting back on the experience is the actual job site trainer, which is our currently licensed forklift operators that are available to us in the warehouse. So essentially, they'll be making sure to do that one-on-one supervision and identifying all those issues that could come up, and helping guide and mentor those applicants along the way. We also have our maintenance staff and occasionally our mechanical contractors. So basically their impact is just to keep everything running, making sure that all the forklifts in good order, potentially, that they're charged and refueled at the start of each day, and that there are any issues that could be going on within the warehouse, like the racking systems themselves, or the pallet dispenser, that kind of thing. So might pass back to Andrew for the training applicants.
So the objectives of the trainees would be to participate in the forklift certification. They'd be reliable and present when required, demonstrate a desire to engage in the learning process, study any relevant materials, provide documents to employers when asked, communicate issues they have during training to show a willingness and to problem solve or work around them, and 10 minimum or perhaps 1 to 2 extras back up depending on the goal of the project.
It's always a good idea to plan for a little bit of failure. Right, so our last accountable person is an external contractor to our organization, being the registered training organization and the license assessor that they assign to us. Essentially, their role is to make sure that all the things such as bookings and payments are correctly taken and received, that they're able to turn up to the job site, have access, know who to meet, to come and conduct the actual licensing process itself, and to perhaps once they've assessed the actual applicants, to give them some feedback should they need any pointers or assistance. Depending on how we choose to fulfill the license applications, whether we get our HR or the individual applicants to do that themselves, the RTO assessor, some of them do actually do that in bulk for us. So I'll get Otto if you're here. Otto?
How you doing? Oh, sorry.
Fantastic, you're back. So I'll pass to you.
Actually, we have the floor manager at the top, basically that goes down the hierarchy chain here. And the counter manager also takes place after that. We also have a human resource manager as well. Actually, the general manager is the one on top mainly that knows everything about anything else. But also we have the RTO as well, job staff trainer, maintenance department, and we'll go to the floor manager and be taking care of also human resource manager. Can't say anything else. Sorry, there's nothing here.
All right. So we've got the human resource manager, who's also talking to the job staff trainer, and the job staff trainer is also speaking to the warehouse manager as before. So we'll go through a few lists of the resources that we need, and I'll pass to Andrew for this little part.
Yep. Okay. So for finding and screening the applicants, we'd need to list the job on Seek. About 2 days, costs about $300 odd. The other options are for different advertisers like the jobsearch.gov, which is free, stuff like that. So we obtain the pertinent information from all the different applicants, like their work and stuff. That's done on a PC. It takes about 2 days. Screen and assess them is another thing that takes about 2 days. Interview them, which would be the general manager. So those first three are done by the HR team. The general manager and the floor manager would be interviewing the applicants that are successful for about 2 or 3 days. And then the last step would be to, hire them and put them in. That'd be the general manager, 2 to 3 days to take. So we'd be ensuring they're correctly inducted into the workplace. They'd get a facility tour with the HR and floor manager. They'd be in the warehouse for about half an hour. Safety instruction, the floor manager, about half an hour. Team introductions and instructor introductions, another 15 minutes in the warehouse with the floor manager. Ensure the trainers, assessors, coursework and exam documentation / licenses sourced and booked. The coursework and the training materials, the HR and the general manager would take care of that with a PC and a printer for about an hour. Book the RTO would be on the PC or the phone with HR, 15 minutes, and an assessor would be on the phone for about an hour. Carry out the training, so you do the forklift safety training, the floor manager or the job site trainer would be taking care of that. They'd be doing, forklift, first aid, things like that for about 2 hours. Forklift safety inspection, you'd have the maintenance, floor manager, those kind of people would be doing that for about 2 hours. Forklift practical training would be the floor manager, job site trainer. They'd have the same things as the previous ones, take about 2 hours. And the practice test would be the floor manager and the trainer with the general manager for 2 hours. Carrying out the assessment would be the pre-exam prep, would be making sure that the area is clean. You need the job site trainer, the manager, maintenance, and the assessor, take about an hour. The study materials would take about an hour. Forklift checks would also take about an hour. Carry out an oral test with the trainer and the assessor would take about an hour, and a practical test.
Right, so we'll go over a few of the expenses. So basically listing the job on a few of those services, as mentioned above, Career One, Indeed, Seek, they were slightly different pay models. Job Active is clearly free. There are a few other ones. So we also need to take some photos for the job site IDs and the license themselves. We can either get them to attend a post office or pharmacy and get some certified IDs, or we can actually use in-house photographer to do that. Then we also need to create the employee ID cards. We can either contact head office and get them to send out the final ID cards, or we can contract that out. It might be simpler to do that all in-house. Finally, we have the contacting the RTOs and the assessor course fees in total. So it's about 6,000 in total. Most of them are between 5 to 650 or thereabouts. We have our training materials, which includes all our little safety booklets and basics on how to controls, that kind of thing, and potentially maybe some USB sticks to give to some of the students with some forklift safety videos type deal. We'll also have the license applications form as requisition from WorkSafe Victoria. We will have a few of them left over, and typically they're boxes of 25 to 50. Lastly, we have the total license application fees, which are generally $67 each, but for 10 applicants, that is $670. For the variable expenses, we may have additional PPE and worksite uniforms, and we estimate that cost to be about $175 per person. We've got the running costs of fuel, both for the diesel and LPG, as well as the few electric forklifts that we have. And while we're unsure as to what our potential parts and maintenance costs, we have budgeted about a $5,000 just in case something comes up over the next few weeks. Essentially, our only income will be the request for the payment from our applicants for the license for high risk work. That's the one thing that they will need to supply money themselves for. We'll typically either take that out of their pay. So we'll pass to Otto if he's here to go over some of the potential challenges.
Yeah, we've got some potential challenges. We actually got language barriers, and we ensure applicants speak fluent English when assessing them, but you know, that's sometimes a problem. Forklift isn't working properly, so ensure maintenance staff are on site to fix forklifts as needed. Training floor is obstructed. Ensure cleaning crew clear enough spare to allow for training. Also budget, ensure accounting, all lots enough funding for the course.
We also have an example of the schedule for the first few days of when we induct the applicants, as outlined by Otto.
One sec, can't see anything at the moment.
Might take a moment to update.
Screen, can't see.
I think Otto's got a bad connection.
Yeah. Right, Andrew, would you like to go over that, or?
Yeah, I'll go over it quickly. I'll do the first one, you do the next one, and we'll do it like that.
Sure.
Okay, so at 8:30, the managers get together and organize the induction. At 9 a.m., the applicants will be brought in, the start of their induction. the introduction and presentation of the company, video in the boardroom of the company and how the OH&S will be done, 10-minute break. Then at 10 past 10, we'll play them around and let them see the warehouse. 20 past, we'll be back into the boardroom to present a forklift manual of operation and a video of operation. And then 11 a.m., we'll get them onto the floor to the forklift area and have the trainer show a presentation on the forklift and what it is and where it is, and a safety check before operating it.
Okay, so after that, probably break for lunch. And then after that, we'll get the applicants back from lunch and we'll move them out onto the warehouse floor and assign them their trainers. And we'll start show them the safety checks and the how to practically operate a forklift, including their basic controls, steering, braking, operating the fork, the levers themselves. Then after that, after they've gone a brief introduction to the forklift, we'll have another quick coffee break, and then after that, we'll start getting some one-on-one supervised training where they drive around the forklift and pick up pallets and so on, as well as moving materials to around the warehouse itself. So depending on how many trainers we have active, we might need to switch between the trainees. So here's a checklist that we need to do essentially for the exam day. So make sure that all our applicants are booked to take place on the assessment day, all the forklifts charged and work safe with no mechanical faults. Ensure that all the application forms for the licenses are correctly filled out, clearing all the workspace and hazards prior to the actual practical exam portion, supplying all those official documentation and forms beyond that they may need between the RTO itself, just for their record keeping type purposes. Eventually, at the end of the day, we will inform the applicants about their results, whether they pass, whether they fail, whether they're borderline, that kind of thing, and provide them feedback on how they each did with their tests. So we'll ensure all the documentation is correct. And as part of that, I think we jumped over a little bit, but carry out the written or oral safety test just to make sure that they understand safe operation of the forklifts themselves, and carry out the forklift knowledge test, what all the different parts of the forklift are called, the controls themselves, and then I think we also need to move this a little bit earlier, organizing all the payment for the services from the RTO and assessor, as well as make sure that and sort out how we're going to ask the applicants themselves to pay for their license for high risk work. So, all right, I think that's it.
Well, yeah, really good. So detailed.
Too much.
Very thorough.
Yeah, even your aim, just very detailed. If I could say one thing in front of the employers, if I was you, for like the tactical steps and whatnot, I would skip over them.
Yep.
Because they were looking for the milestones. So just say, hey, these are our steps to finish them, and then skip through. And then what else? Your budget was good. Let me just quickly go into your project. Give me 2 seconds.
Can I just say something?
Yeah,
sorry, can I say something? So all you guys, you have really good speaking voices. And Darcy, I've been wanting to say this to you since day one. You remind me of, like, when you're on the plane and you've got someone who reads up the safety stuff, like your voice is
radio presenter.
Yes, like you'd be really good at that.
That's another mark on that telly. There's quite a few people that have said similar things. When I'm gaming and playing, raiding with people, about every 2-3 months, someone will say that you sound like you should be on the radio.
The old I've made $1 for every time I've heard that.
Yeah, I'd probably have about $40-50.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so back to it, really good, so detailed, and looks really clean again. Even like especially like for your aim, the sentences are just really nice and coherent. What is your project? That looks good.
Darcy, I think we're still on your page.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit.
Yeah, with your penguin.
I thought I'd throw something.
Don't,
in there.
don't let penguins in. Don't let penguins in. Penguins can drive forklifts, can't they?
I think they're more in management with their tuxedos.
But yeah, just really good. The accountability chart's really nice. The only criticism I have would be
Skip over a few things.
skip over them instead of, so like the position descriptions and the milestone
Yep.
tactical steps, I'll just skip over them. But it just shows how much work you've done. So it's good that it's in there.
Yeah,
You guys,
a lot.
35 slides, so that's just ridiculous. It's really good. So
I have a feeling if we're actually in a company, they would probably want that level of detail, and you might send out the presentation so that everyone else knows what everyone else is doing. You wouldn't necessarily present it all.
Yeah.
We've also cut that down a bit.
Yeah.
We had actually discussed quite a bit more.
Oh, okay, really well.
Yeah.
Wow.
You've done your
I kept saying maybe cut it back a little, cut it back
Yeah.
cut it back.
That is probably a little bit my fault. I tend to
It's fine.
lots of detail.
I'm the same as well, but yeah, I know that sometimes we've got to cut down a little. So
yeah, especially for the employees who are coming in tomorrow, they like seeing how much work you've done for sure, but because it's not real, they'll probably be sitting there going, this isn't real. Like I don't need to know all this information. So if it was a real business, it's great. It's just skip through just in case like they get bored and just show them what you've done. And just focus on the main points that you're meant to portray, especially the parts where it's like your accountability chart with all the photos and that, maybe focus on that a bit more because it's easy to read and coherent.
Yep.
But yeah, really good work. So,
how long did we actually take?
oh God. 25 minutes.
Okay, yeah, try and cut that down.
Yeah, I think about that. I don't know exactly when you started, but if it's about 10 past. I've also got bad news. I've got something to run through with you guys quickly.
That's all right.
If you just hang around for a little bit, I'll stop the recording now that I have all your footage.
All good.